when new members came in, what was their process of getting people in? You know, like
So at the time when I was going, Willie closed the house a long time ago, like in 80 something. And when he reopened it with Richard and Benny. So at the time when I came in, they were just reopening the house. So they were just recruiting all these kids and trying to train them and stuff like that and trying to build the house up again. So they did. And there was like, actually, I came in with a whole bunch of kids. So I was part of a group that just started. So that was like the reopening of the house.
Interesting. Okay. And then I would imagine, obviously, speaking to your child star ninja, y'all had to practice to get y'all voguing down, right? Because I believe y'all are performance house, correct?
Yes, and a runway house. We were more at that time, in that era. Yeah, we were more performance and runway.
Okay, and then give me a second. Let me go to my words, make sure I'm good, because I'm doing a timeline of shit. Bear with me. So obviously, you said you talked to Willie. Now, obviously, Willie passed in 2006. Is everything? What was he like as a house father, and like how did he like really instill? How was he like as a house mother, house parent, and what was he like as far as giving advice to his children?
He had a heart of gold. This man would take the shirt off his back to give to you if that was the last thing he had. He was always so helpful. You know, he was that one person that you could go and talk to and give you the best advice he can, and to help you out if you were in need or in like anything. You know, you go up to him. He was very welcoming, and that's what I loved about him. Very kind, very humble.
Okay. I like that. I hear that a lot about him from people who I know who knew him and everything, that he was very nice. I also heard that he was a good cook.
Yes, he was. That man could throw down in the kitchen. My favorite thing he used to make was the orange Cornish hens. Yes. Oh my God, that orange chicken or orange Cornish hen was so good. It was so sweet and tangy.
Now, once he passed away, of course, how did the house carry on, you know, with him, and like as far as finding a new parent and such, or did he already have that?
Benny and Richard took over. They were the house parents at the time, so they kept the house going. It was a really big loss. You know, we all went through our mourning stage, and you know, we all felt like we lost a part of ourselves. So it was kind of hard. It was really hard for me because, you know, I was his last protege, and I was, you know, he was my mentor and my everything, you know, and and mind you, 2 days before he passed, that was the day I won. It was my famous video everybody loves, was the latex ball, the hands performance. That was 2 days prior of his passing.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. But speaking of the latex ball, I'm actually glad you brought that up, because now I'm going to segue into, as we get moving forward. Well, actually, no, before I do that, when did you actually become the house father? Because if I remember reading correctly, it was
2014.
2014? All right. So what was that like for you?
To be honest with you, it was a hard transition for me because the house was kind of in shambles at that point. You know, after Willie passed away, and we were trying to settle everything, and there was a lot going on at the time. Our house father ended up getting into a huge accident, and he had to leave the house and take care of himself. And then now, a little bit later, the house mother left. So there was no parents. So I was the next in line, but I was not prepared for everything I had to fix. So I got a silver platter full of shit that I had to fix and control. And I was the only person that actually could step up because they were actually training me to be the parent next. You know, it was me and my brother Michael. And we were, so, you know, Michael was Richard's kid and I was Benny's kid. So they were kind of training us basically to take over the house for them. And I ended up taking it, and I kind of ruled with the iron fist somewhat. You know, I was trying to get all the kids together, and I was trying to get all the kids to walk, and it was not easy. Mind you, I started to travel and then started to go all these countries teaching and judging competitions and also competing. It was kind of hard juggling the house, my career, and try to keep the house and my whole life in one, you know, in peace. But I somewhat did it for a while, so.
It sounds like that's a whole full-time job of everything. Where do you find the balance and, like, I don't know, your personal
life? You got me on that one. I really don't know how I did it.
But hey, you did it because the house is iconic and everybody knows that house, you know.
Thank you. Right. I did my best.
Where did the name Dragon come from?
So I picked up the Dragon because right now in the House of Ninja, I am the last of the Mohicans since they reopened the house. I am the last one standing. Everybody else is practically new. And I am Willie's last son, his last protege. So, and you know, in the Asian family, you know, the dragon's always the main one. And they always call me the staple, the staple of the House of Ninja. So why not? And it's strong, it's loyalty, and it's something, a mystical creature that has values. It speaks, you know, it speaks a lot. You know, when you see a dragon, everybody is drawn to it. And I have a fascination with Asian and Japanese dragons.
I know that they are also they have mythological stuff too with them. I know usually people call on them for protection and such. But you said you're last of the Mohicans. Where's Archie?
Archie's still here, but he's the grandfather.
Oh yeah, I guess. Now here's a question that I have, because I was asking this to your son. Why didn't he take over when Willie passed away?
He's in two scenes. He's in the dance community. He's known for whacking, and he's also known for voguing. You know, he's always traveling and always teaching. So, you know, he didn't have the time. You know, he still gives us advice. He's still, you know, he's our Switzerland, as we call him. You know, he doesn't choose sides. He's always he's our voice of reason, per se. That man is so neutral to everything, and it's just such an amazing soul to have. You know, also, yeah, I have to give it up to him, because that man could vogue and he could dance, and he's almost halfway to 60. No, halfway to 70. And that man could dance circles around everybody.
And he looked good as fuck. Like, I did not know he was almost in his 70s.
He's 65, 66.
He looked good for his age. Shit. Because I didn't know that. I thought he was at least I thought he would have had to been at least maybe 50s going into 60s.
He's already there, honey.
From what I've seen of him, because I reached out to him to do an interview, he looked good for his age. I ain't gonna lie, he looked good. And I remember seeing old videos of him with Willie. In fact,
jacked up. Jacked up.
Dead ass. And there's a specific video that I remember, which I'll probably add it into here, is I don't know where they were performing, Willie had blonde hair at the point, and he had him voguing for him while he was on the mic, and then he
Wigstock.
Huh?
Wigstock.
Ah, okay. And he was like, "Get up, baby." He's like, "Come." He's like, "Get up, baby." And he said, "Let's see if this old queen can do it," because it was him and I think Lady Bunny was on stage.
That Wigstock.
I like that one. That one was good. I like that. And to see him with the blonde hair, I was like, okay, bitch, he switched it up. And so,
yeah, I didn't like him with the blonde hair. I love doing his black hair. His black long curly hair. I remember one day I walked into his house and he goes, "I need your help." And he had a hot comb. He's in the kitchen with the hot comb on the stove and ready to straighten his hair. I was like, "Oh my God, what are you doing, Willie?" I was like, "I'm straightening my hair." I'm like, "You don't use a blow dryer?" He goes, "Do you know about black hair?" I was like, "I guess not."
He sounds like he was just.
I remember that was the first day I ever put a track in somebody's head.
I'm dead.
I'm serious. Willie said, I'm straightening my hair and I need you to put my tracks in. And he told me how to put a glue on a track.
Interesting.
It was a key. It was such a key. He sat down and he's like, "Part my hair." I'm like, "What? I'm like, "What? Willie, I don't know what you saying. Part my hair." Okay.
I'm screaming. Oh my God. So I want to ask you this. Well, it's like two questions. One, because it's going to be before we get into the next topic and stuff like that. So, so being that you rock One Ray, I want to ask you this. I'm going to throw this question in. Who is somebody you want to battle?
Somebody out. Child, I'm old school. I don't want to battle nobody anymore. These ankles be done gave up and I be done fell out. If I had to battle anybody, there's no one I can think of particular, but there's more I gotta tell you. Oh my God, there's so much more I gotta tell you about ballroom and runway and the scene, because it's not just mainstream or the kiki. There's also the female, the lesbian side. They have balls yes, honey. The lesbians have balls. So that's where I guess you could say I got my status, how people started to know who I was, because I walked all the female ballrooms and was winning trophies. If I could just go, well, next time I'll show you I got trophies, honey, from walking. I was a judge. I've been a judge at these female ballrooms. And it's a lot of them. And that's what people don't understand. It's just like how people ask questions like, well, how do you get into ballroom? How do you get to go to a ball? It's the same way with the lesbian side. It's very low key. You don't hear about it. You don't know about it. People are like, where did they come from? It's always been there, but they just do their own thing at their own time. And it's just like how we pass out flyers at the next ball is going to be here, next ball is going to be there, word of mouth, and you get part of a group chat and you talk with each other. And that's how that part of ballroom came out. But I don't know who I would walk against. I don't know. I have no idea.
I didn't even know there was a lesbian ballroom. Oh my God.
Oh, there's even more. There's so many. There's a Jamaican ballroom. Yeah, it's like in, I don't want to say not Bushwick. Flatbush. They have balls over there. So yeah, I had, because of my Jamaican roots, and I was friends with some that were in ballroom. They came to the mainstream balls. But then they found out like, hey, what's that? You Jamaican? Oh, okay. Come to our balls and we throw down, honey. We get dressed up. I'm like, I look at them like, that's not what we do in mainstream. Because in American ballroom, we try to look like Americans. Over there, they were looking like how the Africans would look. They would have on African garbs and the wigs, the beads. And I was just like, that's not quite what I want to look like. But okay, but they have their own ball. They have judges, they have categories, and they walk, but it's a little bit different than what we have. It looks more, now that I would say looks more like a church ballroom. That would be going like their runway, look like a church runway. So it wouldn't look like mainstream ballroom, or it wouldn't look like European runway that you would see in Europe or in New York Fashion Week.
It was stricter back then. Like they didn't give freebies like they do now. You know, if you messed up, that chop was coming. You know, now they just give you a freebie for all your dips, and they're still giving you 10s. Kids have it too easy. And back in my day, we didn't have classes. We didn't have vocal classes like they do now. You know, I learned at a club most of the time. That's where we all used to practice, and that's where we used to have fun. And that's how you used to, you know, we used to battle everybody at a club. You know, we used to open the dance floor, and we used to make a runway, and we used to all go in there and battle. And that's when you used to, you know, if you saw the bitch you wanted, that's when you used to come up to you and be like, let's go, girl. You know? And that's when you knew who were the best, because the best used to step up. Or if you used to call the bitch out in the middle of the dance floor, you know, that used to be fun.
So who was someone that you had, like, you waited to battle and you finally got to battle?
Actually, it was Snow White. He's at that moment he was a Milan. Now he's a Miyake Mugler.
And what was it? It was at a club or was it at the ball?
So I met Snow White at this club in Queens, New York, called Crash, on a Thursday night. And every time I used to go there, we used to just battle all the time. And then finally, when I saw her doing Hain's performance at the Latex Ball, I ended up running up there and going to battle, you know, and competing against her. And it was fun because, you know, she's like my sister, so she's my Colombian sister, so.
All right, so clearly there's like, it's evolved in various ways. You have a lesbian one, you have, like, from the different parts of our LGBT community to even like international. You have the Caribbean one, you have even in Asia, I've seen. You have so much going on. I also want to talk about the media aspect of it, because now we see it in so many different stuff from, again, going back to even before Paris is Burning. It started in Queen. Then it was Paris is Burning. Then it was oh my God, what's the
How Do I Look?
Yes, How Do I Look?
Mm-hmm.
Then you had, was Pose and Legendary, they were around the same time, correct?
Pose came out first, and then Legendary came as soon as Pose was ending.
Okay, so you have that, and then you're also seeing it in shows like Law and Order, what is it, the Equalizer, you name it, and so many different, you know, aspects of media.
Yes.
What is your view on that? And then after you answer that, I am going to ask you about your experience on Pose. So hold that thought, because I know we're going to talk about that. But what do you think about the whole entire of it's growing out into mainstream media and such?
For me, I think it's great that it has reached out as far as it has reached, because back in the day, it was kept quiet. It's giving, I don't want to call it the kids, but the kids, it's giving the kids the opportunity to have a career, to have a job, to grow, to learn. Whereas back in the day, we were always shut out. We were always, what people don't realize, we were always there. We've always been there. We were the ones making all the lights, the cameras, the action that you saw on camera. But we were the ones that were behind scene. We were behind the curtains. Now, honey, that curtain came down and they are full out there. You see them everywhere, like Laverne Cox and Keisha Scott. God, it's so many of our girls that are out there, and guys too. Like Lath, like so many. There's so many of our people out there now. Ballroom is everywhere. That's all I can say. Ballroom is everywhere, from the colors of the hair, to the nails, to the clothes, to the way that you see these people on these regular shows walk. They have someone, one of us, to teach them how to walk in on a scene. Yeah, they have the look, but can they deliver? And I hate to say it like this too, but it's true. Even with housewives, those women also learn from us. We were their hairstylists. We're their assistants. We're the ones who's in their rooms before they even make it onto set, onto camera. And we have a whole kiki while we're doing hair, makeup, nails, and me being an assistant, I was an assistant for one of the housewives, and we would just talk, and she was like, yes, honey, like, yes. But now it's gone viral where whenever you type in yes, you see her face and the word yes pop up underneath her. So it's like, yes, they use our terminology. And though, yes, most of the stuff that we do, we get from Black women, give Black women their props. We get from, because those were like our mothers, and they would always tell us, honey, you tried. You know, I brought you in this world, I'll take you out. That's like the first ultimate shade that you would get as a child. It's like, what? Mom just said it to me? And now, as a gay child, we just like, you know what, I could say, if mom could say it, I could say it too, but I could say it with a twist, and I could say it with a little more sass to it. And it has taken off and has ran. So you have straight women and men who've never done any of these things before in entertainment. And all of a sudden now it's like, what? Like, wait a minute. We like him, he's straight, but he gives us this little attitude or this sass that we like. Or like, yes, like her hair's put together. She's always come together, the heels, the legs. But do they really know that she's learning from us? And that's all of them. But yeah, it gives us opportunity now to step up in front and be friends. Whereas before we were just the person in the back. Now we're friends. And now we're also getting our own shows and doing our own things. Like, was it Jumping the Broom? Not Jumping the Broom. God, like, why can't I think tonight? What is going on? What is Noah's Ark? Noah's Ark. Yes, that's what I'm trying to get. Those shows like that, those were opening doors for us. Now, mind you, I didn't really care for Noah's Ark when it first came out. Because, you know, I'm still in that little closet. I was like, they are too gay. Like Noah with all that hair, the big bow and all that. But honey, it was before our time. It was definitely, they were picking up from the 80s, bringing it into the 90s and 2000s. And then it just took off. But now you see it everywhere. And it's also become, because I'm in entertainment, it's become a stereotype, which we also try to break that stereotype. Meaning, there's a lot of auditions that I've been on, and they told me I wasn't gay enough. They told me I wasn't Black enough. They told me I wasn't muscular enough. I was like, well, what kind of gay are you looking for? Because if that's the case, then you need to really put that on your specifications that you're looking for that kind of gay. Because if not, you're not going to get it. You're going to get what you get. So then when I do bring in that sass, now they've been telling me, can you tone it down just a little bit? You're giving us too much. And if not that, they just don't want me to say anything at all. Just sit there and my presence alone speaks loud. Now they're like, I like that too, but there's a little bit more to me than just me sitting there looking cute. So, but yes, the entertainment world has opened up and it has created jobs for us. Created space for us. And we are there. Instead of just being behind the curtains, we are in front now.
Well, I know that story all too well. I shared that in an episode of Queer Talk. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, what was it, the first season? Because our friends Chris, Caesar, and Sherrod were on those. And we talked about our experience being queer and being of color and also being, you know, and doing entertainment. And I remember my time in the city when I was acting there, because I was getting hella auditions, baby. They loved me. I couldn't stop my phone from ringing. But I remember I would run into the issue where everybody wanted me to play the stereotypical Black gay. And I was like, okay, I didn't mind it the first couple of times because I like representation, but maybe there's more to me than being gay. And then also me, my personal self, I don't like being a stereotype. Anything that I do is to actually do the opposite of a stereotype. I'm like, okay, I could be sassy, but I also have a brain, which I have all this stuff. And it got to a point where I had to shy away from doing a lot of queer stuff. Or if I did, I was cautious. I'm like, I'm not gonna come in here and be the stereotypical sassy fucking, you know, Black gay guy. I'm not doing that shit because that's not my brand. It's not who I am. And I'm over it.
Exactly.
Such. But now I want to get into, you have been on Pose.
Yes.
On multiple occasions. I actually, it's funny because when I go back and watch Pose, because I watch that bitch religiously, it's funny how much I miss, and like each time I see a lot of people who I know. I was like I ran into Caesar a few times on there. Season 2, season 3. I seen Sherrod and their brother, and the linen versus silk category, and stuff like that. So I've seen everybody and all that stuff, and I'm like, okay. But what was your experience like that, especially from someone who is ballroom, and you know your time on set?
Haus was like, oh, we are here. We have arrived. Like they finally see that this community is here, because for so many years after Paris was burning, it's like there was nothing. It's like what is going on? Like we're still here. We should be making movies about our lives and things going on. And to see all my friends on the show from ballroom and from the mainstream world, just out and about, like all of us, we were there together, and it was like a family. For me, it was a job, honey. I knew I had work for 6 months straight. Like I knew I had work. I was there from season 1 to season 3. So I did all seasons. Now there were some scenes you probably didn't even know it was me because I was in drag. So it's a lot of stuff. I had wigs and all that stuff. I was zhushed up in there, but it was a lot of fun, amazing fun. A lot of it was, so I also didn't tell you, I auditioned to be on the show. So yes, to be one of the 2 boys, Cubby or whatever Jason was, pretty much I was auditioning for Jason, the role that he played, Lamar. And they wanted Spanish. Remember, they thought I was Dominican. So I'm clearly a Black guy, but I went in for the role. I didn't get it, but they told me, they said, if you know, because you're part of ballroom, if you know anybody who wants to be part of this, please reach out to your house, bring them in, because we want them to be part of it. They said, if you make the audition, great. If you don't, it's all right. You'll still be part of the show. We want to keep you in. So I was like, okay, cool. That was a clear sign I didn't get the role. But I was like, okay, I reached out to my Haus Ninja, and a lot of them, they didn't believe it because of the stereotype and the backlash that they got from Paris is Burning, because a lot of the cast didn't get paid. And they were fighting for their royalties and also said, how are they coming out with another show and we still have not been paid from Paris is Burning? So they're like, no, don't do it because they're not going to pay you. I said, but I have a contract right here that states everything on it. They're like, yeah, don't believe it because that's the same thing. It's like, I don't know, guys. Like, this is Ryan Murphy. This is like, he's got people from our community in on this, and we're all fighting for this. Now, mind you, at that time, I wasn't SAG. So, but I knew I wanted to be SAG because I knew that we would get paid like we're supposed to get paid. Non-union people, they were just using non-union like crazy. They were just bringing people in and just like, bring them in, kick them out. So I got a few people. Jason went out for the role. He auditioned because I told him, I said, come, they want people to, he went in, he auditioned. He says, yeah, he said, I auditioned. He says, I think I got it. He says, I don't know yet. He says, but I'll keep you posted. He kept me posted. And we saw each other on set. I said, did you get it? He says, well, I got a trailer. I said, you got it. You got it. What are you talking about? And he says, yeah. He said, wait a minute. You got it too? I said, no, I'm just doing background. He's like, no, but you're here. I said, yeah, I'm here, but I didn't get the role. He's like, it's okay. It's okay. He said, but we're here. We're working. And next thing I know, and that was just the first week. The first week, it was, oh my God, 300 some queer people in a room together. Craziness, pure craziness. Because a lot of people still had that ballroom mentality, meaning they had that ignorant mentality, they had that street mentality, they had that, I got to get mine before you get yours kind of mentality. They wanted that trophy just like everybody else wanted that trophy. So the lot is, from wardrobe to hair, makeup, they were a wonderful team, wonderful cast. They were looking out for all of us. And then of course you had that one or two bad apple. I'm here. I don't care. I'm a film queen. I need to be in the chair before them. I understand to get their face beat, but I'm a full woman. I need to look like a woman. Well, then go home and do your makeup, then come to us. Like, go do what you need to do and then come to work. No, because this is Hollywood. They make you up. And you're not even in a trailer. You in a room full of other people. You sitting at a table with a mirror and a makeup artist that are boop, 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 and send you on your way. but they didn't understand that. So that it became a whole lot of, I don't like this, I don't like that. So a lot of, again, non-union people, you saw them there that day, but you didn't, as the week went on, it got less and less and less people. There was a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes, just like in ballroom. This is New York. Your stuff will go missing if you don't pack it up nice and tight and keep it where your seat is. If you just one of those people that come in, oh, I'm here, I need to spread out, I need to, okay. Oh my God, I'm missing my computer. I'm missing my watch. Hello, honey, you just got caught. That's what you just got. You don't come here and do, like, this is still the culture. It's still the ballroom culture. Though we try not to bring that street life into work life, and that's where a lot of them get it confused. Like, this is work. This is not the real thing. We're acting it, though we are part of it. Let's not bring your bad side into what something is supposed to be good and wonderful for all of us. Eventually they caught on, they got it, because a lot of them and their friends didn't come back. But I do still see them, and I still, hey, they're like, you still did that show? Of course, I got paid, honey. Like, and every year there was like these new batch of kids and I call them kids, because they were getting younger and younger that were coming in, and it felt like I was playing football, because back, still like how we do today, you've seen when we were at Latex Ball, how we were being pushed up against that stage, standing up on chairs. It's like that on set, but it's like full football. You pushing to get to that stage. And though the director has placed you in a spot where the camera supposed to come and pick you up, they still, as soon as that camera comes around, it's like, girl, like, and then you looking in the camera, they tell you don't look at the camera. You looking right, you right in the camera, like, no, you just look a mess. So eventually, yeah, all that just got squashed, and those people weren't invited back too. So there are like rules that they had to learn about entertainment and acting that a lot of them never experienced before. And they thought it was all about them when they realized it wasn't about them. It was about the show. But yes, Pose was amazing. And Legendary, we can speak on that a little bit too. I was there for Legendary. I was in the audience because my Haus of Ninja was in season 1. They picked all the females of my house. And the females were from now this is where we go to the different parts of the world, because they came from Australia, they came from Japan, they came from the UK, like they all came together to be this one unit. And they did amazing, they did a good job. We were a little taken back because we were like, wait a minute, there are males in our house and you didn't call on any of us. No shade, but it's just like, okay, we see what we're doing. You wanted to open it up to females, to change the demographic of it being just a gay house. It's also open to our straight allies as well. Because the women that were up there, they were, some of them were straight. So it's like, okay, so they wanted to see how they would get along and interact and perform. To me, they were performing. And that's what we do. We're all performing house and they perform. So there's a lot of, how should I say, written notes and, okay, you guys need to do this, this, and this. Do not go out here and do that. Stick to this and we'll get you a little bit further. So, but I mean, hey, the dancing qualities, that is them. Those girls throw down, they dance. Because we're dancers. That's how we start into this business. We were dancers. And we learned the art of voguing. And the art of voguing was a part of the world that entertainment did not want to see. Because if you weren't taking tap, jazz, ballet, modern, contemporary, any of those kind of dances, you're just doing street dance. And hip hop was just coming in to that world of all those things that they wanted. Ballroom now has become a huge commodity where everybody wants to join and do it and be part of that world. Like I said, they don't understand it. It takes training, it takes practice, it takes skill. You don't just do it over one night. It takes time to get there. And now the mainstream world of dance has accepted voguing into it, and which I'm very grateful and proud of them for opening that door and seeing that it's more than just the technical ballet training.
Sorry, I was a little taken back when you said straight folks and ballroom and all that stuff and such. Speaking of that, we know that ballroom now has opened where we do have straight folks in there. What is your opinion on that?
On having straight folks?
Straight folks in ballroom, especially those who are getting opportunities and mainstream stuff such as Dancing with Stars, doing all this stuff and stuff and et cetera, et cetera.
I don't see a problem with it because some people need to get in touch with their other side that they've been holding back. Like, no, which they were taught that. Some of these things are taught. Though, yes, you probably grew up and you knew right away, nope, I'm a man and I like women. Great. But there's that 1% in your 99.9% that you were like, you know what, let me just tip my toe over here and see what it's really about. And then really not get engulfed, but really get in and see like, what's the whole hang up? Why was I always told no about them? Why was I always told they're bad? And then realize not all of us are bad. Not all of us are hung up on trying to bring them down this dark hole and make them into something that they're not. No, we want you to be who you are, but know what you're getting yourself into when you're coming in here. You're coming in here, what category are you walking? Do you know that? So you don't know. So you just, because we get a lot of them, honey, they think it's a regular dance class. Oh no, I'm just coming here because my friends were saying that you're looking for straight people. To do what? What is it what can you bring to us? What is it that your straight world thinking that we need in our gay world? So I like it because it shows it's the dynamics of that twister I was telling you about before, going from being masculine to being feminine. So it's like, that's that 1% that they want to tap into, is that feminine side. So like, okay, go ahead, do your thing. And we've had a lot. We had one who lives, oh my God, I think he's in California now. He lived here in New York for a while, then he moved to California. And I was like, he's straight? I was like, you can't tell me he's straight. He's giving you old way all day, give you old way. And then next thing you know, he comes out, he starts. It's like, what? But it's part of dance. If you're a dancer and you're straight, you learn how to be soft and fluid in certain movements versus being so like hardcore and just stoic. But I have no problem with straight people coming into it. And yes, they are getting mainstream and they are getting gigs out there because it's an art form. It's an art form. And I'm not going to be like, oh no, bad, straight people shouldn't come in. I'm an open door for everyone to learn and to flourish and grow together. But definitely, if you're going to do that, come back and give back to the community. Don't just hold it all in. Like, nope, I created. No, you didn't, honey. We let you in, just like us as Black people, letting white people into our cookouts. And then they go home, oh, we learned that you can put butter and besides salt and pepper, you can add Saison and you can do this to your chicken. Where'd you learn that from? Just make sure you come back and give us a little taste of what you've been working on. That's all.